NÜOBELL, one of the most popular adjustable dumbbells in the world, just dropped their new 100-pound S5100 adjustable dumbbells. And we're gonna drop them too. Just kidding, not yet. You gotta wait till later in the video. Today we're gonna review the S5100, compare them to the old NÜOBELLs, as well as the Rep-Ins and other gold standards of the adjustable dumbbells. I'm gonna tell you whether you should get these or avoid NÜOBELL altogether. Let's find out. Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Today we're here with an anticipated review, but you're probably wondering, Coop, why is your grandma's old carpet in the background? That's because we also have a beautiful squat rack that I can't show you yet. It's an exclusive, unique. We're gonna do a full review on it. It's one I've been really excited to review. But if you'd like to see that, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you'd like to see any comparisons from NÜOBELLs and others, let me know in the comments. And if this video has been helpful to you, it helps me if you hit that like button. This is the new NÜOBELL S5100. They call it the 5100 because it goes from 5 pounds up to 100 pounds. If you've been around GGR for any length of time, you know that NÜOBELLs are a very popular adjustable dumbbell. The NÜOBELL adjustable dumbbells are a very good adjustable dumbbell. My favorite part is just how quick and easy this is to turn. In fact, the quickest to change, and they feel the most natural. NÜOBELL is still the overall winner. That doesn't mean they don't have quirks or issues, but we have also seen these in person when they first had the prototype and talked to the founder, the guy who basically invented the dumbbell, Thomas, which is, I think, probably one of people's favorite engineers of all time. If you want to see that, we'll put a link below the like button to that video. That guy is awesome and incredibly honest. He walked me through the dumbbell, but we now have them in. I've been able to test and basically compare them to others, and I want to tell you my full thoughts on these. Now, I am going to do a drop test on these. We're going to drop them and just see how they hold. These are not designed to be dropped, and these are not designed to be the most durable dumbbell of all time. They are designed to be more durable than the original and have a lot of updates compared to the originals. This video is brought to you by Element. I've been using Element for the past year or so. Element is an electrolyte sugar-free drink mix. Basically, it's salt, flavored salt that you put in your water. It tastes very good. They now have a bubbly version that tastes even better. Basically, it's a great option if you want to drink something other than sugary drinks. You want some benefits from electrolytes. Basically, the way I use Element is at the end of my day or midday when I'm starting to get tired. Basically, this is a good pick-me-up. Once I take this midday, I usually get out of the midday slump and then I'm able to keep working or training. But I've been using Element for over a year. I'm a huge fan, and they now sponsor the channel. If you'd like to get your own free sample pack with any Element drink purchase, you can check out the link below the like button. Go through there. It has an exclusive offer for you where you can purchase them. Also, try these. These are very good. Whether you buy them or not is your choice. It's the choice of a new generation. These are the original NÜOBELLs. These are the 80-pounders. They go from 5 pounds to 80 pounds. Honestly, a really well-loved adjustable dumbbell. You see them all over. Actually, a lot of people who have home gyms, when they're looking for a higher end dumbbell, this was kind of the go-to option. It goes from really light, 5 pounds, which is lighter than most adjustable dumbbells on the market, all the way up to 80 pounds and does it with a very unique, very quick mechanism. It's the reason that so many companies have copied them. It's the reason that you find them everywhere. They're just very popular. Well, NÜOBELL went back to the drawing board and made this long boy. You can kind of see it's just long. There it is, kind of next to each other to show you how much longer that is. One of the reasons for that is because they're now going up to 100 pounds, which is kind of funny because when I was out in beautiful Cologne, Germany, and talking with Thomas, they only went up to 90 pounds. And I was like, 90 pounds? You guys know about, Pep-ins go up to 120, Rep-ins are coming out. Like, are you sure you only want to do 90 pounds? Well, I didn't hear anything about that until these dropped on my doorstep. And they go up to 100 pounds, which I want to say was a very good idea that you increase the weight, because 90 pounds, I think in comparison to the market that's out there, would probably be too light. But one thing you can see is they are long. In fact, they're longer than Rep-ins at 120 pounds. So these are about 19¼ inches in length. I think the gold standard right now is the Rep times Pep-in Fast Series. Those are about 18 inches. So you're looking at about 1¼ inch longer on these guys versus a dumbbell that's also 20 pounds lighter. But there's a lot of unique features on these. Let's get into them. Number one, they're using a fully aluminum cast stand. So this stand on the bottom, I'll just show you this one right here. They have two different colors, both a black and this nice silver. It's a fully cast aluminum stand. And you can see they actually have their logo right here. And if you notice, it's not etching, it's not a sticker, it's actually in the mold. The only part that's plastic is this part right here, which I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this. One reason, this is gonna see a lot of use still. So they made this full thing aluminum, a cast aluminum. It's a nice stand, feels substantial, but the part that, well, is gonna see a lot of use, which is that, is still plastic. So if something's gonna break, it's gonna be that, but NÜOBELL typically has replacement parts. Just in my opinion, like they went cast aluminum on the ends, it would've been really nice if they went cast aluminum on this too. Yeah, just my opinion. Okay, next, the way that these connect, one thing you may see are these metal buttons here. These basically replace the dovetails that were on the previous version. So the previous version used these plastic dovetails. These ones stay in, these ones can pop out. Usually they only pop out if you're replacing them. I don't think they break a whole lot, but instead of having this plastic dovetail that's in there, they slide within. They're now using this metal flange. One thing you'll notice is these plates are much thicker than the previous plates. One, that's gonna lead to more durability, but two, the reason they do that is so there's less space between the plates. If there's less space, that means there's more weight, which means for the weight, it should be more compact. If you look at it, it kind of just looks like a normal weight plate, and then they attach these metal, basically dovetail and then flange on there so they connect together. So there's actually 8 total thick plates on each side, and then you have the handle mechanism. Now here's the thing with the handle. The handle has changed when I talked to Tomas, the engineer, which I have no reason to not believe him because he's probably one of the most honest guys I've ever met. Do you think this is the best adjustable dumbbell on the market?
It depends on what you're looking for. I always like power block, for example.
They changed this so that they could make it as compact as possible at the heavy weight. They actually changed the entire internals of the mechanism. The way that they're adding weights for the increments are these 2 plates here. So you'll see when I go to 15 pounds, these stay in there. So these are basically 2.5 weight plates. And then when I go down to 10, it just brings these up, these stay in there. And then when you go all the way to 5, it's this. Now, I hate this design. I'm just gonna be honest. It has multiple reasons that I hate it. Here's why. Number one, in talking to Tomas, this actually increases the cost of the unit because this requires a lot of machining, which means the dumbbells have to be more expensive. The reason they do this is so they have a lighter start weight of 5 pounds. Now I will say, for adjustable dumbbells, this is a huge range from 5 to 100 pounds in a single dumbbell. That's a big deal. That's a great thing. And having a lighter start weight is amazing. But in my opinion, you already have an adjustable dumbbell that starts at 5 pounds. Why not make a dumbbell that is more durable and heavy? Because the ones that I've seen that most often break in our community is this handle right here, because what happens is you use them at the 5 pound weights. If you leave this on a bench or something, it hits at the right angle, that can snap. Man, NÜOBELL, I would have really liked it if instead of having it cut out here and making this 5 pounds, what if you filled that in, made that thicker, and actually just had a heavier handle, have a start weight of 20 pounds or so, and then you have a differentiator between your old one that goes heavier, and you can compete with somebody like Reppin that's got a 120 pound dumbbell in the same form factor. To me, it's like that would have been a better decision. On the change of the internals, one thing you'll see that the way they adjust is similar to the old one. You spin the handle and they have this rod come out. Now, this half rod you need to be careful with. This thing, if it bends at all, you basically break it. In fact, in talking to Tomas, he said with the originals, the part that breaks the most often is this rod. Basically, if somebody leaves it out or something and it bends slightly, if it bends, you're pretty much done for. You have to replace the handle. But you can notice this is how the mechanism works. So basically, as you turn, it attaches or doesn't attach to adjust between the weights. Pretty cool idea. And one thing that I actually like about these more than I like, say, Rep times Pep and Fast series, is the fact that you can leave your hand on the dumbbell the entire time. You don't have to take your hand off, grab the incremental plate to do the 5 pounds, put them in on each side and lock them in or take them out. That's one of the things, honestly, these are one of the fastest, if not the fastest dumbbells on the market, because you can spin this bad boy, 100 pounds, and then 5 pounds. So pretty cool that you can do that without having to adjust anything, and you can go for drop sets and things like that very quickly. A couple things other to call out. One, the handle is pretty much the same diameter, 32 millimeters. When I asked him, he's like, you can go thicker with the handle easily. Going thinner is very hard because of the rod. So they're pretty stuck to 32 millimeters. It is an aluminum handle with a passive knurl. If you're used to using like an aggressive power bar, this is probably gonna feel pretty light. It's definitely lighter than say the Repins or Pepins that are out there. But I think for the market that they're going after, which is just general use, I think this is okay. I wish it was more aggressive, but it's not a big deal. Now, the aesthetics, you can decide if you like it or not. One thing that NÜOBELL does have is multiple colors with their previous version. From my understanding, they're coming out with basically 2 stand options, which are these. You've got your black, and then your silver, and then you're gonna have your different handle options with the silver and then the black. I think they look good. They're kind of like a Nordic minimalism. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they partnered or got bought out by a Leica or something someday, because they are very similar in branding. So you either will like that aesthetic or you like something more hardcore. Okay, so one of the things with the originals, if you just drop it like this, by the way, these are not meant to be dropped. So I would not recommend dropping them if they're yours. I would take care of them. If you take care of them, they're gonna be fine. But if you drop them, like even like this, like they're gonna be fine, but I wouldn't do that a lot personally. If I'm spending this much money on a dumbbell, I wouldn't do that a lot. Where you start to have breaking is if for some reason you extend that rod and it lands on the rod, something like that. Or if you just use it in this capacity. Now I'm gonna drop this. I don't foresee it breaking. Let me put the rod in. I don't foresee it breaking like this. On rubber, it very well could on concrete, but this is hip height. If you're thinking about it, like this is where if you were on a bench, you had it here and dropped it, or you were like benching incline, you like had to come to your shoulders, can't get off, you have to drop it. This is what you're looking at. Now I will say this is pretty nice flooring. I mean, I'll just kind of drop it at an angle. This is probably the worst angle to do. Okay, so you're okay there. Now, let's drop them with some weight on it. This is 50 pounds, hip height, or a little bit below. Okay, that's like a perfect drop. Man, honestly, this is the thing. One of the nice things about these is they don't have rails, which is one thing that people don't like about Repins or power blocks, you know, which is kind of funny now that I think about that. When I talked to Tomas, I asked him, like, do you think NÜOBELLs are the best in the world? His reply was,
It depends on what you're looking for. I always like power block, for example.
you know, that was his reply. So it's like, he's very honest, which I really liked. And it's true, it depends what you're into. If you don't want a cage, these are probably one of the best, if not the best options. If you don't mind the side rails, but one of the problems with no cage, you got a lot more torque if you drop them. They're a lot more likely to break. So honestly, I would not drop it like this with 100 pounds. They would definitely break, but let's see, 50 pounds, this is the worst. You're gonna have all this force load on there. So this broke off right there. So look, this was through there. That's the head. So that broke off right there. This was screwed in there. You can see that's where the head went through and right there. So you could replace that, but man, it doesn't give me a crazy amount of confidence thinking you could drop a 50 pound and that would happen. But I will say, they don't want you to drop these. They don't recommend them being dropped. They don't warranty for them being dropped. So don't drop them. Basically what you come to. You can break them. If you take care of them, a lot of people will chime in the comments like, I've had NÜOBELLs for 3 years. I haven't had any issues. I just make sure I take care of them. That can definitely happen. But if you're just wanting a dumbbell, like you use a fixed dumbbell to throw around or whatever, these aren't the dumbbell for that. I will say, when I talked to Tomas, he said that they plan to come out with a semi-commercial adjustable dumbbell that can be dropped, but they're probably gonna charge more for it. So if you're wanting a more durable NÜOBELL with heavier weight, but not that durable, this is an option. But honestly, man, there's just some things I would change about it. And I'll just run through them real quick. I'd make a heavier handle, not do the cutouts. It's gonna be more durable for the handle, also gonna be heavier overall. If you could bring that weight up, that would be amazing. The other thing, I wouldn't make this plastic. And the price.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Okay, so I got some more information on the NÜOBELL S. For you guys that are unaware, sometimes we get units ahead of time and I don't get any info, and it's like, here, review this. And I just review basically what I see, and I don't have price point. Well, we went back to them. They finally got us more info. Here's a couple things. Number one, the price point is actually better than I expected. Also, they let me know, and originally this was not the case. I even asked Tomas. They've now mentioned Tomas in the email and said that he designed it, engineered it, and marketed or did something else with it. So if you want a NÜOBELL by Tomas, this is still within Tomas's purview. Also, they're coming out with colors. The colors are a black with aluminum cradle, black with black cradle, sand, which this is a very like, you'd find this in a Lululemon shop, you know? Very nice. And then the dark green. I think the dark green looks kind of ugly personally. But they're coming out with a 60-pound version and also their 100-pound version. Priced per pound, it's actually just slightly more expensive than the previous NÜOBELL. So I do think it's a better NÜOBELL. It's a better version than the previous one. They even use the word ameliorated. For you Luddites that don't know what ameliorated means, it means it's improved. It is a better dumbbell, I think, than the original NÜOBELL. It's an improved version. That doesn't mean I think it's necessarily the best adjustable dumbbell on the market versus all the other that we reviewed, all that sort of thing, but it is ameliorated. It's $1,000, $999 for a 100-pound dumbbell for the pair. That's $5 a pound. When you compare that to the original NÜOBELLs, the NÜOBELLs are just slightly under that. They're $4 something. So you're paying a little bit more, but not that much more for more weight. So if you want a NÜOBELL that's better than the original, improves upon it, has more increments, goes heavier, has better materials, and they're now offering, if you order specifically through the link in the bio, which is NÜO Athletics website, you're going to get a 4-year warranty. Whereas if you buy it through any of the other retailers that they're going to offer it through, it's going to be a 2-year warranty. Which, I don't know if you guys remember this, when I talked to Tomas out in FIBO, I told him, why are you doing this through dealer networks? Dealer networks are the 80s. Stop doing dealer networks. Because what happens is they go to a dealer and they say, sell our product. And the dealer goes, okay, we'll sell your product. Give us a haircut. So then they have to increase the price. It's not good for the market. And that's great if you're selling brick and mortar, but they're not selling brick and mortar. They're selling online. So they decided to start selling through their own website. Thanks for listening, Tomas. So I think that's one reason they're able to offer at a better price. So although you saw it and we dropped it and there were some issues there, it says you shouldn't drop this one, although it's more durable. Shouldn't drop the old one. I'd recommend not dropping it. If you want a NÜOBELL, this is a better version of the old NÜOBELL. This replaces it at a pretty good price point, I think. But that doesn't mean I think it meets the rep-ins. If you would like to see a full comparison between the rep-ins and the NÜOBELL S, let me know in the comments. Those are my thoughts. If you wanted to stick dumbbell or dumbbell magnet adapters or whatever to NÜOBELLs, you can do that. You're gonna have trouble getting 10 pounds on each side, you know? You could definitely do 5 on each side, but you could get closer for sure if you wanted a heavier weight. So these are the NÜOBELLs. Let me know in the comments what you think about them. If you'd like to see any other comparisons to other dumbbells that are on the market, we've been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. We'll see you next time. Peace.